Okay. All right, so everyone, welcome back to Kol Kol Shira in partnership with Breslov.org and Yeshiva Teres Shemini. And we want to welcome all our listeners from all over and those that are not participating and those that will be listening later. So this week is a very special week. Let's see, we have Parshat Shemini. So we're going to discuss a little bit why it's called Parshat Shemini, right? We're also going to discuss the Parshat HaChodesh a little bit, and we'll talk about the very unfortunate thing that happened with Aharon's children. So, we'll see what kind of lessons we can learn from that. Of course, there are always lessons that we can learn from everything, especially how we see how we could learn on how Aharon dealt with the situation, right? So here we go. Let's talk. So it's called Parshat Shemini because it was the 8th day, right? Moshe Rabbeinu was involved in the Zion Miluim, right? The seven days that he was setting up the Mishkan. He was taking it down, setting it up, taking it down. He had his avodah that he had to do. It's an amazing thing how the Medrash says that Moshe Rabbeinu went to the Mishkan and he said he looked at these big beams and these things and he said to Hashem, how am I gonna? You want me to set it up? How am I gonna set this up? So Hashem said, just try. So the Medrash says Moshe Rabbeinu put his hand on the beam and the beam lifted itself up. Unbelievable. It did it all by itself. Me'ela. It happened all on its own. It's amazing. It's amazing. So Moshe Rabbeinu finished doing what he had to do. And it was now the 8th day. And Aharon took on the role of kahuna. That's when Aharon became the Kohen, right? He became the Kohen Gadol. His children became the Kohanim. And he was charged to do his avodah. Okay. Now Aaron did all of the karbanos. He did everything that he had to do, but the Medrash says that he didn't feel the hashras hashchina wasn't there. They didn't feel the Shechina present. So Aaron asked Moshe Rabbeinu. He said to him, let me tell you, maybe Hashem didn't like my service. Maybe I'm not worthy for this job. Maybe you gave me this job, but it's not. Maybe I'm the problem. He was so humble. Aaron was such a humble person. So Aaron and Moshe and Aaron went into the Mishkan, and when they went in together, they felt the presence of the Shechina. So that's an amazing thing. How again Aaron went to his younger brother Moshe. And it's so beautiful how Aharon, he treasured his younger brother, and he respected him so much. It's so beautiful when you see the relationship that the brothers had. That's something so beautiful by itself. The next thing is, let's see. We had they went into the Mishkan. Now we also know that this week's parsha, we're also going to have a second Torah this week, and we're going to read Parshat HaChodesh, right? Remember Parshat HaChodesh, right? Last time we did Parshat Zachar, right? We did last week Parshat Parah, right? Now we're going to do Parshat HaChodesh. That's the final one of the 4 parshiyas, the 4 sifra, there's 4 svarim that we do. We do Shkolim, Zachar, Parah, and Parshat HaChodesh. And Parshat HaChodesh is the last of the parshiyas. Parshat HaChodesh is a very, very amazing idea to really understand what Rosh Chodesh Nisan is. Really to understand that Rosh Chodesh Nisan is really compared in its counterpart is Chodesh Tishrei. Tishrei is the counterpart to Chodesh Nisan. Right, and we all know that when it comes to Chodesh Tishrei, right, we have Elul before, and then we start the first day of Rosh Chodesh Tishrei is Rosh Hashanah, right? That's Rosh Hashanah. So that's a time we do Tshuva Meira, right? We're in trouble, right? Our life, we're on trial for our lives, nothing less. right? That's Rosh Hashanah is a time of tshuva. We do tshuva me'ira. Now we know that the tshuva me'ahava is much greater than tshuva me'ira, right? If a person does tshuva, he returns to Hashem through the love of Hashem, through loving Hashem, is on a much higher level than the tshuva from doing it from yira. Because the Gemara says that the tshuva me'ira, what happens is the Yavera gets erased, but the tshuva me'ahava, the zodan nasias kezechuyos, the zidonius nasias kezechuyos, the iniquities, they turn into nothing more than merits. They come into merits, and that's a fascinating concept. That you could take something that was done wrong, and you can turn it into a merit. It's the most beautiful thing possible. It's the most beautiful thing. I did something wrong, but yet I can turn it into something positive. Fascinating, fascinating concept. So let us understand that really Chodesh Nisan is a time of tshuva, the same way Chodesh Tishrei is a time of tshuva. But now, because it's now Chodesh Nisan, this is the time that we feel the love of Hashem, right? We feel how HaKodesh Baruch Hu took us out of Mitzrayim after 210 years, not after 400 years, remember, right? We were supposed to be there for 400 years. Hashem told Abraham Avinu, right? He told Abraham Avinu, your children will be in Mitzrayim for 400 years. All right, there's calculations when they started the 400 years. Maybe it was when the time Yitzchak was born. Okay, whatever. But either way, we were only in servitude for 210 years. All right? But HaKadosh Baruch Hu took us out. Because again, we were going to fall to the 50th, the Shar Nun of impurity, the 50th gate of impurity. And if we fell to the 50th gate of impurity, we would come to a place of no return. A place of no return. And therefore Hashem took us out at that specific moment, right before we sank into that 50th level of impurity. There are those that say today, we're even on a lower level than the 50th level of impurity. So how does that work? How does that work if we're on the lower level? It works, but today we have the Torah. Today we have Torah. See, when we were in Mitzrayim, we didn't have the Torah yet. And the Torah is the tavlin. The Torah is the tavlin, is the antidote. The Torah is the tavlin, is the antidote in order to protect us, to help us, to save us, and we can always attach ourselves to the Torah, the teachings of the tzaddikim, and via doing that, we can always pull ourselves up, right? We can always pull ourselves up. Now, we know Chodesh Nisan is setting us up for Pesach, right? Right? We're learning, right? This is crunch time, right? They call it crunch time, right? We have to get everything ready for Pesach. You got to clean the house. You got to get everything done. It's unbelievable, right? You got a lot of things to do. You got to make the matzahs. You got to get all the food. You got to get to change the kelim. Everything. You got to do so many things to do right now. But to realize that the whole idea of Pesach is this beautiful concept that we have to stay away from the chametz. Stay away from the chametz. The Sfarim all talk about chimutz halev, chimutz hamayach, right? The chametz in our hearts and in our minds. We have to clean out the hearts. We have to clean out the minds. It says that by some of the tzaddikim, they used to when it came to bedikas chametz, they would open up their shirts and they would put the candle by their heart, and they wanted to search to make sure there was no chametz in the heart. Unbelievable. To how tzaddikim would have the chavivas of the mitzvahs, the beauty of the mitzvahs. Unbelievable. All right, now, so again, we have to stay away from chametz. We have to stay away from chametz on Pesach. Mamish, even it's asa b'mashu, a morsel. We know that chametz, it's an interesting concept, a very interesting concept. Do you know that there's a very big difference of chametz that fell into something before Pesach, then it fell into something on Pesach? Did you know that? before Pesach, the idea of chametz can be mevatel. It can be mevatel in a bigger mass, okay? But on Pesach, it's impossible. No matter how much, you can have 1,000 times amount of Pesach stuff, and one morsel of chametz. That little morsel of chametz will be mevatel, will make everything else chametz on Pesach, but not before Pesach. It's fascinating. So that's why making things on Pesach is very, 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 you have to be very, very, very careful. And that's why a lot of people don't want to bake matzah on Pesach. They wouldn't want to. You can, but the Isra of chametz is so severe, so severe, we want to stay away from it. Now, really, why is the Isra of chametz so severe? Do you ever think of that? Does anyone have a suggestion? I'll tell you why.
What? The davar sheyesh lo matirim is not batal.
Is not batal, right?
Because you wait till after Pesach. If the chametz overall Pesach is aser.
Aser, right? Right, chametz shaval. If you don't sell your chametz the proper, what Rabbi Yehuda is saying is like this. We have something called mechiras chametz, right? We're allowed to sell. We sell our chametz, right? You go to the Rav, you go to your rabbi, and they have a contract, and you're selling the chametz. You sell the chametz to the rabbi, because if you don't do that, then any of the chametz that you have actually in your homes is not able to be used after Pesach. That's why it's always a thing to understand. The stores. Right? All the different stores, you have to know what stores were owned by Jews, what stores are owned by Jews that didn't sell their chametz, right? There's always a big thing, right? In America, there's always a big thing to understand which stores, and sometimes you're very surprised. I can't buy in this store because there's Jewish ownership in that store. There's Jews that own the store. Now the problem is that there's any ownership of a Jew in the store, and then there was chametz in that store that was not sold over Pesach, it's awesome. Because you're not allowed any hana, you're not allowed any benefit from chametz that was left over Pesach that was not sold. Now let's understand why. So Rav Nosson explains it so well based on a teaching in the Zohar, in the Idra Rabbah of the Zohar, where the Zohar says that the is metzach, the is metzach. There's a metzach, there's a higher metzach, and there's a lower metzach. The higher metzach is the place of Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, which is 25 letters, right? There's 25 letters there, followed by the next statement that we say, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchusay Li'olam Voed, right? We say Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, and then we follow with Baruch Shem Kevod Malchusay Li'olam Voed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchusay Li'olam Voed, there's only 24 letters. You ever notice that? Maybe you didn't. But if you take out your city, you'll count it, you'll see it's 24. Shema has 25. If you spell Yud Kei Vav Kei, the 4 letters. You can't do the Yud. If you do that, it won't come to 25. But if you spell it out correctly, you'll have 25 and 24. Says Rav Nosson, based on the teaching of the Zohar, that this is in Hashkamas HaBoker, where Rav Nosson, it's in Halacha Hey, it starts with letter Aleph. That's where Rav Nosson brings the concept in. Right? If you want to look at it inside, okay, so it's the morning blessings in Likutei Halachos, letter Aleph, okay? He brings this concept, and he explains like this. Metzach is the same letters as chametz. Metzach. Metzach actually means the forehead, right? Forehead. The metzach is called the forehead. That's the forehead. But metzach is also a place up on high. It's a very, very, very high place in Shemayim where a person can say Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. Boy, that little kutza the dalet, that little hook that's on the side, on the right side of the dalet, takes the person mamish to the highest places, where he can actually transcend the 24 courts Okay, there are 24 courts up on high. Those 24 courts up on high are the Metzach Tatah, right? There's a Metzach Tatah, the lower Metzach, and there's the upper Metzach. The upper Metzach is where you have all the tranquility, you're one with Hashem, you're above the courthouses, above the judges and everything. But the lower one is where you have all of the judges. Now these judges are explained in these courthouses are very, very angry. Why are they angry? Because there's sin going on in the world. So long as there's sin going on in the world, the judges are very, very angry about the sin. And the judges are meting out judgment against the world. And we see there's plenty of judgment in the world today. Perhaps more judgment than we've seen in a very, very long time. Right? How every nation in the world has turned their backs against Israel. You ever see this before? I mean, even so much so that the United States last week abstained from a vote against Israel in the UN. That's the first time they ever did that. They never did that before. Could you believe it? Unbelievable. But the Navi Yeshaya says that it's going to come a time that all the nations of the world are going to turn their backs on Klal Yisrael, and that's when Hashem is going to step in. We're waiting, Mamish Chevra. We're waiting. Hashem is going to step in and show Himself again. Hashem is going to come in. He's going to be here soon, Mamish. Any moment, any moment. Now, we learned, and we're going to learn now again. We're going to review it again. That the letter Metzach is spelled Mem Tzadik Ches, right? Metzach. Chometz is Ches Mem Tzadik. Okay, Tzadik Sofi, right? It's the end. It's the same letters. Now, the problem is on Pesach, HaChodesh Baruch Hu tapped in to the Metzach Ilah, the higher Metzach, the place of salvation, the place of redemption, to take us out of Mitzrayim. Okay? In other words, the judges in the courthouse were very angry because, again, don't forget, they were saying, hey, why Hashem are you saving these Jews? These Jews and the Mitzrayim are both serving idols. Why are you saving them? Right? Halolu v'halolu. That's what they were saying. But Hashem tapped into the Metzach Ilah, the place of Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, which is called Raiva Deraiva, which is attached to the time of Shabbos by Mincha. That's the most special time. And how do you know that? By Shabbos by Mincha we say, Vani Tfilasi L'cha Hashem Eis Ratzon. Right? We say those words by Mincha when we take out the Torah, right before we take out the Torah. We say, L'cha Hashem, right? Ani Vani Tfilasi. I am my tefillah, l'cha Hashem, when I daven for you, Hashem, and I'm not davening for myself. I'm davening, I want to connect myself to you, Hashem. When I do that, when I connect myself to HaKodesh Baruch Hu, that's an Eis Ratzon. That's when it becomes a desired time. But that's the most desired time of the entire week. Why? Because that's what's known as Raiva Deraiva. Right? The time of Shabbos by Mincha is Rava Deravin. That's the most special time. It's a time of endearment. Why is it a time of endearment? Because again, Hashem is leaving, right? The Shabbos is leaving. The Shabbos is about to leave. We're about to send off our Neshama Yisera, right? We get the second Neshama, we get a special part, another part of our Neshama on Shabbos. When it comes to Shabbos, we get the Neshama Yisera. Shabbos by Mincha is that time right before Shkia. It's right before the Shabbos is leaving, and because it's that so close, so any time when you have friends get together and they didn't see each other for a while, right, and they spend some time together, right before they're going to leave, they just feel so there's such warm feelings at that time. right? There's such warm feelings of closeness, of endearment, because again, they know that they're going to leave. So that's how it is on Shabbos. We know that Pesach is also called Shabbos, right? Pesach is called Shabbos, right? Do you know that? It says on Pesach, when it comes to the Sefira, we're going to be doing the Sefira Omer, right? So it says you start counting the Sefira when? Mimachras HaShabbos. In the morning after the Shabbos. What do you mean after the Shabbos? Pesach doesn't necessarily have to be on a Shabbos. Pesach can be any time. Pesach can be any time. It doesn't have to be on it. But the Torah calls Pesach Shabbos. Pesach is called Shabbos. You know, there's a machlokes in the Paiskim, how many matzahs we have to use, we have to have by the Seder. Did you know that? We all know we have 3 matzahs, right? The Kayin, the Levi, the Yisrael, right? But there's a lot of Paiskim that say you only need to have 2. You only have the 2. And they bring a raya from the Gemara and Brachas where it says you have to have a Shleima and you have to have a Prusa. A Shleima and a Prusa. A Shleima means a full one, and a Prusa means a half. Because on one hand, you only need a Lechem Mishnah on Shabbos, right? Shabbos and Yom Tov, right? We use a Lechem Mishnah. Shabbos, you need a Lechem Mishnah. You have to have 2 complete challahs, 2 complete matzahs together on Shabbos. We all do that, right? By all 3 meals, we have a Lechem Mishnah. But when it comes to Pesach, we don't. But now we understand why we have 3. Because Pesach is also called Shabbos. That's why we understand why we take 3. So we break the middle matzah like we all do, right? Right? We break the middle matzah. That's the yachatz. We break the middle matzah. We put aside the larger hand, right? We have the two parts, right? And we take the smaller one. The larger one goes for the afikomen, right? We put the larger one away for the afikomen, right? And then the other one we keep. But we have to always have. We always have to have. We have 2 complete ones and a piece. All right, but that's understanding. Another reason why I'm sorry we're jumping around a little bit, but I want to just keep it interesting for you guys so we don't stay on one thing here. Okay, so that's understanding why we have 3 matzos when it comes to Pesach and not 2. But there is a school of thought. There are many poskim that say you can have 2 and it's acceptable, because you don't need a lechem mishnah. But what we're learning, we understand very well why we have to have 3, because Pesach is called Shabbos. Now, back to the question. So why is chametz so asur on Pesach? Because again, like we said, the word metzach and chametz are the same words. Metzach and chametz are the same words. Because metzach and chametz are the same words, and the metzach tato, which is also known as the zer anpin, which is the lower 7 spheres, okay? We don't want to get involved at all in that din. The whole time of Pesach is all about ahava. It's all about Hashem's love for us. All about His love for us. HaKodesh Baruch Hu loves us, and that's why He saved us. We're trying to connect to the love. We do Teshuva me'ahava on Pesach because we're trying to connect to HaKodesh Baruch Hu through love, not through fear. Tishrei, we connect to Hashem through fear. Right? We're on trial for our lives. But you know something? When it comes to Chodesh Nisan, it's also a time of judgment. Right? The Gemara says there are four Rosh Hashanahs. Okay? It's a Rosh Hashanah. It's a Rosh Hashanah too, but it's a Rosh Hashanah that we can connect to HaKodesh Baruch Hu with Ahava. And that's something so special, something so beautiful to understand that this is the time we're about to enter into. We're about to enter into this time where we can connect to HaKodesh Baruch Hu through love. Through love. Isn't it much better to connect to HaKodesh Baruch Hu through the Ahava? And then again, you'll say to me, what? So I don't have to have fear? Of course you have to have fear. Of course you have to have fear. You cannot have Ahava, love, without fear. They have to be balanced. You have to have Yiras Hashem and Ahavas Hashem. You cannot have, I just want to love Hashem and there's no Yiras Hashem. That's not going to work. It doesn't work. You have to have Yiras Hashem and Ahavas Hashem. Now, the higher level of Ahavas Hashem is this, where I feel my love for Hashem and I'm fearful that I will damage my love relationship that I have with Hashem. That's the best. That is the best. Because I don't want to do anything wrong, chas v'sholem. I don't want to do something wrong, chas v'sholem, because if I do something wrong, and Hashem loves me so much, and I love Hashem so much, if I do something wrong, I'll damage that relationship. How beautiful that ahava is. How beautiful that love is when I feel that way. The same way you can have a couple, right? You have a husband and a wife, and they're deeply in love with one another. So the husband or the wife doesn't want to do something against the will of their partner, of their spouse, not because they're going to get in trouble, because they feel such a bond with love. They feel such a bond with love. They don't want to damage that bond. That's the level that we're supposed to get to when it comes to Chodesh Nisan, when it comes to dealing with HaKodesh Baruch Hu and feeling and returning to HaKodesh Baruch Hu through the love. And this is something so beautiful. Now, I said a lot of things. I'd like to see if there's any comments from anybody in the audience over here. If there's any comments, I would like, if you have any questions, I'd like to, please, guys, this is the time I'd like you to ask any questions you have now. Reb Zushia, Mordechai, Marty, Ernie, Rabbi Yehuda, anyone. Okay, Baruch Hashem, everyone's quiet, everyone accepts it, right? Everyone can raise your hand if you accept it. Okay, everyone raise their hand. Okay, Baruch Hashem. we have a very shy audience today. Okay, all right. So let's learn something inside now. So in the Parsha, we have so many different things to learn about. We have this idea to learn about what happened when Aharon's children, when they went into and they offered. Let's take a look here. Hold on. Let's look at something inside from Reb Nosson. I'd like to share with you a beautiful lesson from Reb Nosson. Okay, guys, here we go. Does everyone see the lesson?
Oh, not yet.
Not yet? I didn't share the screen?
No.
Oh, okay, let's see. Okay. How come we don't have a sharing screen? I don't understand. Am I a co-host?
Yeah.
You want to check?
Yeah, I see you are.
Okay, so it's not giving me the option to screen share. Let's see here. Give me one moment, fellas. Security, maybe it's in there. Enable, waiting, lock meeting. No. Video. Oh, here, screen share. Okay. Oh. Now I think it's going to work. Can we see it now, guys? Can we see the screen now? Yes? Okay, very good. All right, so let's look at a piece from Reb Nosson. Look at the title is Eish Zara Asher Lo Tziva Oisam. This was a foreign fire that they weren't commanded to do. In other words, they went and they did this on their own. We have to understand really what happened here with Nadav and Avihu. So there are 4 explanations of what they did wrong. There are 4 explanations. One explanation is that they paskin the halacha in front of their Rebbe without seeking advice from Moshe Rabbeinu. That's one. The next thing that they did was they drank wine. Not allowed to drink wine and go into the Mishkan, into the Beis HaMikdash. The next thing is they weren't married. Reb Nosson has a beautiful understanding about why weren't they married. The beautiful understanding of that is, I'll just tell you outside, is Nadav and Avihu wanted to have such a connection to Hashem. They wanted to be so connected to Hashem. They didn't want to be they didn't want to be involved in dealing with a wife. They felt that they could be so connected to Hashem, and they wanted to go higher and higher and higher. They didn't want to be brought down. But we have to understand that really the whole idea is to get married, and we should have the mitzvah period of Arivia, to have children. And the whole idea is also to take the women out of the Yogain and Anacha. The women are generally, they need to be lifted up. They need to be lifted up. And again, because Nadav and Avihu didn't want to do this. That's another reason why they and the next one is, of course, they took the Ketores. The highest thing is the Ketores. They took the Ketores where they weren't told to do, and they went into Kodesh HaKadoshim. Unbelievable. So here we go. So let's see what Rav Nosson has to say now. Who can explain it better than Rav Nosson? I don't think anybody. This was the day that the Mishkan was being inaugurated. This was the day of inauguration of the Mishkan. This is the idea of the Heichel HaKodesh. This is based on the lesson in Likutei Maran, right? Lesson Nun Tes, right? Lesson 59. Here we go. Let's see what the Rebbe says now. These were very, very, very lofty people. Let's not think Nadav and Avihu were two slouches. Chas v'sholom, chas v'sholom. These were very, very lofty people. As Chazal teach us, es masay haro shenasa ba'olam. Shachrei kol ha'isais v'hamaisim ha'neiroim she'asa Moshe v'Aaron. They saw the things that happened in the world, the things that were happening amongst the Jewish people. After all of the beautiful things, how Parai was such a sorcerer that he was able to make sure that not even one slave would ever leave Mitzrayim. Parai was such a sorcerer. HaKadosh Baruch Hu made such miracles in order the 10 plagues, the splitting of the sea, Kabbalah Satorah, in order to break that whole thing of Parai, to break the whole idea of Parai, to break this. This is what they did. So all these things happened. All these beautiful things happened. They did all of these beautiful miracles. And after we got the Torah, they saw the Erev Rav. That was the group of guys that wanted to come along, right? They wanted to come along when we went out of Mitzrayim. And Moshe Rabbeinu agreed to take them. Against Hashem's advice. Hashem said, I don't think you should take them. But Moshe Rabbeinu said, I want to take them because I think I can lift them up. I can take them from their low level and bring them back, take them from what's known as Shmad. They were by Shmad, to bring them up to Ratzon, right? To take them from Shmad to bring them to Ratzon. Now, you want to know something very interesting? I think, Rabbi Yehuda, you're going to like this very much, okay? The word Shmad, the numerical value of Shmad is 344. Right? You agree with that, Rabbi Yehuda? Shmad, 344. Moshe is 345. Is that, you agree with that too? How about the word Ratzon is 346? How do you like that, huh? Moshe Rabbeinu is Bein Shmad LeRatzon. He's standing there. He's right in the middle. 345 is right in the middle of 344 and 346. 346 is higher than 345, right? Right? Moshe Rabbeinu is trying to take these guys from the Erev Rav, to take them from Shmad. Right? We know the word Shmad right? If a person, chas v'shalom, leaves, he wants to leave the fold of the Jewish nation, right? He wants to join another nation, chas v'shalom, another religion. So we say that he shmadded himself, right? We know the word shmad, right? We know that word. But Reb Nassan explains to us, also in the Likutei Halacha so beautifully, that any time a Jew does anything against the Ratzon Hashem, right? Hashem says, don't do this and I do it, or Hashem says, do this and I don't do it, so then that is a level of shmad. It's not shmad actual. In other words, the person, chas v'shalom, didn't leave the religion, but it's a level of shmad. It's a level of shmad. And then you can always turn to Moshe Rabbeinu, the Torah of Moshe, to bring you back to the Ratzon. Because Moshe Rabbeinu is Bein Shmad L'Ratzon 344, 345, 346. I thought that was something interesting. I hope you enjoyed that. Okay, here we go. Let's go on. Okay. Al Kain, Savru, Sha'ata, Shehukam HaMishkan, V'yoda HaShechina. So they thought now, Nadav and Avihu were thinking now, that wow, look at this. That now that we built the Mishkan, and the Mishkan's established, it was beautiful, it was a beautiful edifice. A beautiful, beautiful edifice. And the Mishkan is standing. Then the Shechina came down and was resting over the Mishkan. Oh, how beautiful that was. Everyone felt that. We all felt the Hashras HaShechina. Guys, we're going to feel that again. We're going to feel that again very soon. You have to believe it. Mashiach is on his way, guys, and we're going to feel this again. The Hashras HaShechina. And we're going to feel the Shechina present. But that's what they thought. They said, wait a second. The Mishkan's is erected. And the Shechina's here. So they thought, V'nasa tikun nifla b'chol ha'olamas. And they saw the great tikkunim, the great repairs that happened in all of the worlds. Not only down in this world, they saw all the repairs that were going on in all the worlds. Everywhere they saw the tikkun, the repairs. It was amazing for them to see. From the time of Maaseh Bereshis, when Hashem made the world, till that time, there was not such an event that took place, a time that took place that such repairs had taken place. Kamur b'Zayir HaKodesh me'otzim kedushas ma'alas haaretz hayoim HaKodesh v'anoirahu shehukam b'ya Mishkan. This was on Rosh Chodesh Nisan, guys. This happened on Rosh Chodesh Nisan. Did you know that? Which is going to be Tuesday, Emet Hashem. This coming Tuesday is going to be Rosh Chodesh Nisan again. So this is the actual time that the Mishkan was erected. Now, can I tell you something else that's very nice that a lot of people don't know about? We have something called the Parshat Hanasi. I don't know if you're familiar with that, Parshat Hanasi. All right. So if you take a look in your Siddurim and you look at Chanukah, right? If you look at Chanukah, so it'll give you the instructions of the Kriyas HaTorah for Chanukah. It'll also tell you that it's customary to read these verses on Rosh Chodesh Nisan. Does everyone know what I'm talking about? Do I have any? No, you don't know. Okay, good. Okay, we'll talk about it. You guys are quiet. You can talk. You're allowed to talk. Okay, so from the time of Rosh Chodesh Nisan, you take a look and I tell you, if you want to take out your Siddurim now, you can take it out and you can take a look in there. You look where it says, where you look at the Kriyas HaTorah for Chanukah. Okay, where the Torah portion reading for Chanukah, it'll give you the instructions that from Rosh Chodesh Nisan, you read the portion of the day, right? There were 12 Shvatim, right? Every day there were sacrifices that were done each day. Each day had its own Shevet. Each tribe was inaugurating the Mishkan each day. And then on the 13th day, we were getting ready for the Karban Pesach, right? Right, we had the car, right? And then on the 14th day, we slaughtered the Karban Pesach. And then we had Pesach was on the 15th. Amazing, right? So this is what we do. There's a beautiful thing to do this every day. You read the Parsha of the Nasi. If anyone wants, they could send me a message. If you want, we'll talk about this more. If you have any questions, and the tefillah to read after it, you can ask me the question. I'm happy to answer any questions on this. This is a very beautiful thing to do, to feel getting ready for Pesach. Mamish, you feel you're getting ready for Pesach through the inauguration in the Mishkan every day with the karbanos of the shevet, of that respective shevet of each day. And that's a beautiful custom to do. In many shuls, they actually take out a Sefer Torah after they finish davening. They'll take out a Sefer Torah and they'll read it in the Torah. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but I've been zeichet to been in shuls that they do that. They take out the Torah, they read that portion of the Torah that day from that shevet. And then everyone says the tefillah that goes after it. Okay. All right, that's just a side thing. Okay, so here we go. Now, who come up by a Mishkan? Shenatal eser atorois veheim by or hagonas. That there were 10 crowns, right? And there was the illumination of the or hagonas. What was the or hagonas? HaChodesh Baruch Hu hid away the light of by Maaseh Bereshis. He saw that the light was very bright, and Hashem hid away the light for the tzaddikim for the end of time. Right? The tzaddikim are going to bask in the light of Hashem. That's called the or hagonas, the hidden light. The hidden light. But the hidden light was revealed on this day. Could you believe that? It was revealed on this day when the Mishkan was erected on Rosh Chodesh Nisan. On this grand day. This was the day that the world was waiting for. The whole world, the whole creation was waiting for this day to connect the heaven and the earth together. The heaven and earth. There's a Beis HaMikdash up on high, and now there was a Mishkan down below. And there was a connection of heaven and earth together. It was so beautiful. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu he shined the light, the hidden light. Val Kain Savru, Shata Eis Levayer Ulachales Asitra Akra Legamri. They thought that we know, Chazal told us, when Mashiach is going to come, it'll be the final day of the Yetzer Hara. He'll be slaughtered. Oh, we're waiting for that day. Hashem will slaughter him. Oh, Gewalt. We're waiting for that day that he's going to be slaughtered. And on that day that he'll be slaughtered, they thought this was the day. They thought, Nadav and Avihu thought that this was the day. They thought this was Mashiach. They thought they came to the final rectification. It was done. We see the Aragonas. They saw the hidden light. Could you imagine? I'm trying to imagine what this was. Try to imagine how beautiful this day was. It was something so spectacular. And again, you have to understand that this Nadav and Avihu, the Mishkan was actually sanctified through them. Moshe and Aaron thought that the Mishkan was going to be sanctified through them. But they saw that the Mishkan was actually sanctified through Nadav and Avihu. The Mishkan was actually sanctified through them. And there Moshe and Aaron said to Aaron that I see that Nadav and Avihu are actually greater than us. That's what they said. This is how great these people were.
Did they say that because they were like sacrificing there because they got burned?
Yeah. No. Moshe and Aaron they felt that the sanctity of the Mishkan was much greater after the Nadav and Avihu were burnt. It says that their bodies weren't burnt, their souls were burnt. Right? Their bodies were not consumed. They had to be buried after. But either way. All right, so this is what happened on this day over here. So they thought that the Sitra Achra was gone. They thought he was over. They thought this was the time of the final redemption. We reached the final redemption. That the Erev Rav won't be able to make any more problems because the Yetzer Hara is gone. so we won't have any more problems. This is what they were thinking. Al kein hikrivu eish im ketoris shaloi bizmana. And therefore they took the ketoris, the fire with the ketoris, the 11 spices. The 11 spices. We're going to see why the 11 spices in a moment, guys, okay? The 11 spices. But they did it shaloi bizmana, not in its proper time. When was the ketoris brought into the Kodesh HaKadoshim? One time a year, on Yom Kippur, right? On Yom Kippur, the Kohen Gadol, he would go into the Kodesh HaKadoshim with the Ketoris on that time only. But they thought that we reached the final rectification already. And there's no more Yetzer Hara. It's all done. So they thought we could bring this in now, but it was shaloi bizmana. V'kavanasam bevadei oyel l'toiva. And look what he says, that really their kavanah, their intent was so certainly good. They had chas v'sholom no intentions of doing anything wrong. They made a mistake on their calculation. They thought they felt that we can sense the Ar Haganas here, this hidden light for the end of time now in the Mishkan. This is the time of all rectification. This is what they felt. But they made a mistake. But don't think that they did this in a chas v'sholom, that they did something, they had wrong intentions. Their intentions were as pure gets. That was their intentions. They wanted to bring the fire of judgment, of the mishpat b'kedusha. Remember we learned before about the metzach tatah. We have the lower metzach, and that's where the courthouses are. They were trying to fix that mishpat now b'kedusha. Hey courts, all you courts up there, look, no more Yetzer Hara. There's not going to be any more problems in the world. They said, they felt, and the mishpat now is going to be b'kedusha. Ba'ayfen she'harisha kula ka'ashan tichla oz. They thought that the whole wicked vanished like a smoke. They thought it all vanished. It all vanished, like we know, we say, we believe that mamish it's going to happen any moment. Ki zeh yadua she'ein shum davar mevora hatoiv miyum ge'aklipas u'mevora hara k'may eish ha'ketoros. The Ketoros has the greatest power to rectify. The Eish of the Ketoros is the greatest thing to rectify. I can't urge you how important it is every day to say the Ketoros. How important it is every day to say the Ketoros. It's the greatest thing to ward off the Yetzer Hara. If you want to have a great fortification daily from the Yetzer Hara, you say the Ketoros, the Parshat, the Ketoros, right? You say that in the morning, and you say it again by Mincha, okay, twice.
Can you ask a question about that?
Yes, what's your question?
It's very straightforward. What I mean by that is they say, well, you take this much of this one and this one. I mean, it's like, I'm not sure I understand what we're doing besides just repeating the whole manufacturing process in a sense.
Okay, very good. Okay. I heard this. Okay. Mordecai's question is this: he doesn't understand how did the whole Ketoros work. Is that what your question is? What he's trying to ask Mordecai?
Yes.
What was he wanted to know the mechanics behind it, right?
Or what would Reb Nosson say about it? Maybe.
What would